then what can Black America expect from learning America's history? There are other things. The Mason-Dixon line does not separate North and South. All Africans did not come here as slaves. And of course, there are other myths, but we'll start with these. I wanted people to know about the history of people of African descent, emphasizing lesser known facts. All people on the face of the earth today are descended from one African woman. The world's first university was in Africa, at Ephesus in Egypt. According to Greek mythology, not American, not African mythology, Greek mythology, civilization was taken to Europe by an African. The oldest school of Christian teaching in the world is in Alexandria. It is on the site of where African gospel writer St. Mark's Church once stood. The first Christian nation was Abyssinia, now called Ethiopia in Africa. It was technology taken into Spain and Southern Europe by the Moors of Africa from 710 to 1492 and led Europe out of her dark ages. Moving to this continent, I want them to know Africans have been coming to these shores for over 2,000 years before Christopher Columbus. When Columbus landed on these shores, there was a black man with him named Pedro Nino, who piloted his ship, the Nina. I also want them to know that not all Africans that came to this country became slaves. The first man to die for America's cause was named Christopher Attucks, a black man. I also want people to know that 1/3 to 1/2 of all the men who sailed the whaling ships were black. The Emancipation Proclamation did not free my family in Virginia, nor did the 13th Amendment. My family, like many other people of African descent, were freed by black soldiers, some of them from Maryland. The cover of my book is an example of what I want people to know. The picture on the front of that book tells the story of 3 generations of my family. My great-grandmother started by putting marks on the wall when she was a slave. My great-great-grandmother started it. My great-grandmother, so you can look there, you can see the reasons for those marks is that that was the only way that slaves could record a birth. That's on the front of that book. The pride here is my grandsons using an early version of the book for their high school projects. The promise is my grandsons using an early version of the book for their high school projects. The work on that book led me to some other unique parts of history. We're today in the Reginald F. Lewis Museum of Maryland, African American History and Culture. So let's talk about